Today we are discussing the concept of measurement and evaluation. Measurement is a process of assigning numbers to individuals or their characteristics according to specific rules. Abel and Frisbee, 1991. The concept of measurement refers to the systematic process of assigning numbers or values to characteristics, traits, or features of individuals, objects, or phenomena according to established rules. This allows for the quantification of those characteristics, making it possible to compare, analyze, and interpret the data meaningfully. Next, measurement is a process of quantifying the degree to which someone or something possessed a given trait, that is, quality, characteristics, or features. L.R. Gay, 1991. The key points of this definition: it's a systematic process. Measurement involves following specific standardized procedures to ensure accuracy and consistency. Next, quantification. It transforms qualitative traits into numerical values, enabling objective analysis. Next, assignment of numbers. The process assigns numbers or symbols to represent the degree or presence of certain characteristics. Next, comparison and interpretation. Once traits are quantified, comparisons can be made between different subjects or over time. The definitions provided by Abel and Frisbee and L.R. Gay emphasizes that measurement is both about the process of assigning numbers and the quantification of traits or characteristics. Measurement. Measurement assigns a number to quantity, certain aspects of human and non-human beings. Measurement as numerical assignment. Measurement involves assigning numbers to quantify certain aspects or attributes of both human and non-human entities. It provides a systematic way to describe these aspects numerically. It is numerical description of objects, traits, attributes, characteristics, or behaviors. It's a numerical description. Measurement serves as a numerical description of objects, traits, attributes, characteristics, or behaviors. It helps in defining and understanding these aspects in a quantifiable manner. Measurement is not an end, but a means to evaluate the ability of a person or thing. Means to an end. Measurement is not an end in itself, but rather a means to evaluate the abilities or qualities of a person or thing. It facilitates assessment and comparison. Nature of measurability varies from traits to traits. Variability in measurement. The nature of measurement varies depending on the trait being measured. Different traits may require different measurement methods or scales. Scales of measurement. Nominal scale. The primary function of the nominal scale is to assign unique identifiers, either numbers or labels, to distinct categories or groups. This categorization allows researchers to classify data without implying any order or ranking. Example, consider categories such as male or female, distinctions like rural and urban. These classifications are purely qualitative. Characteristics. The defining feature of the nominal scale is that the assigned numbers or labels hold no intrinsic quantitative value. They are simply tools for identification, making it impossible to perform mathematical operations like addition or subtraction on the categories. Ordinal scale. The purpose is the ordinal scale extends the nominal scale by not only categorizing data but also providing a means to rank or order subjects according to specific criteria. This ranking can be ascending or descending order, reflecting a relative positioning among the subjects being measured. Example, a common instance is class rankings or satisfaction surveys. where responses might range from satisfied to neutral to dissatisfied. Characteristics: while the ordinal scale offers insights into the order of items, it does not convey the exact differences between the ranks. For example, the difference in satisfaction between satisfied and neutral may not be same as between neutral and dissatisfied. Next, interval scale. The interval scale is designed to measure variables that have equal intervals between points, allowing for meaningful comparison of differences. However, it lacks a true zero value, which limits certain types of mathematical interpretations. Example: temperature readings in Celsius or Fahrenheit and IQ scores are classic examples of interval scales. Characteristics: this scale incorporates all features of the ordinal scale but adds the critical aspect of equal intervals, enabling researchers to quantify the differences between measurements. Nevertheless, because there is no absolute zero, comparison such as twice as much cannot be accurately made. Ratio scale. Purpose. The ratio scale is the most sophisticated of the measurement scales, combining equal intervals with the existence of a true zero point. This feature allows for comprehensive and meaningful mathematical comparisons. Example: measurements like weight, height, duration, and various metrics in the physical sciences exemplify the ratio scale. Characteristics: by including all the properties of the interval scale along with a true zero, the ratio scale allows for robust comparisons. It enables statements such as the measurement is twice as much or this is half as much, making it particularly useful in quantitative research. Understanding these scales is crucial because they dictate the types of statistical analysis that can be applied to the data collected. Each scale has its own set of appropriate statistical techniques, influencing how researchers interpret results and draw conclusions from their studies. By recognizing the strength and limitations of each scale, researchers can ensure that their methods are aligned with their research objectives, leading to more accurate and meaningful insights. Concept of assessment. Assessment is a systematic procedure for collecting information that can be used to make inferences about the characteristics of people or objects. Systematic procedure. Assessment involves a structured and methodical approach to gathering data. This data collection is focused on specific characteristics of people such as skills, knowledge, attitudes, or objects like products, systems, processes. Make inferences. The information gathered through assessment is used to draw conclusion or making judgment. These inferences help in understanding the abilities, performance, or qualities of the subject under assessed. Analysis and interpretation. Assessment involves not just collecting data but also analyzing it to derive meaning. This interpretation is crucial for providing context and understanding the significance of the data. Assessment is broader than measurement but narrower than evaluation. Relation to measurement and evaluation. Measurement is a part of assessment process and refers to the quantification of attributes. It provides raw data such as test scores, ratings, or counts. An assessment goes a step beyond measurement by analyzing and interpreting this data to understand what it indicates about the subject. Evaluation is a broader concept than assessment. While assessment focuses on understanding and describing specific attributes, evaluation involves making value judgment, often comparing outcome against a standard or objective to determine worth or quality. So, assessment is a systematic approach to collecting, analyzing, and interpreting information to make informed judgments about specific characteristics of people or objects. It plays a key role in both educational and organizational context, where understanding and improving performance or outcomes is critical. Categories of assessment of learning. Assessment of learning is a summative assessment type used to evaluate and document what students have learned at the end of a period of instruction, such as the end of unit, term, or course. The primary goal of assessment of learning is to measure student achievement and determine if educational goals and standards have been met. Characteristics. Purpose. Summative assessment. The primary purpose is to certify or document learning by measuring students' knowledge, skills, and abilities after instruction have been completed. Assessment of learning often serve as a means to hold students, teachers, and schools accountable for educational outcome. The results are typically used to inform decisions about grade, promotion, and future instruction. End of instruction. Assessment of learning usually take place at the end of a learning period, such as at the end of a unit, semester, or school year. Final evaluations. It provides a final evaluation of student learning and often contributes to final grades or reports. Feedback. Limited feedback. Feedback is usually provided in the form of grade, score, or performance level. It is often less detailed than the feedback provided in formative assessment and is not typically used to guide further learning. Focus on outcome. The focus is on the result rather than the process of learning, emphasizing what students have achieved. Teacher-centric. Teachers are primarily responsible for designing and administering assessment of learning. The assessment tasks are usually standardized, ensuring consistency and fairness across different students and classes. Student roles. Students' role is largely passive as they complete the assessments but do not typically use the result to inform their ongoing learning. Example, standardized test. These are often used to measure students' achievement against a set of standards or benchmark. Example, state or national exam. Final standardized test, next final exam. Comprehensive exams that cover material taught over a significant period. Next, end of unit test. Test given at the conclusion of a unit to assess understanding of the material covered. Next, projects and presentations. Final projects or presentations that synthesize learning from a course or unit, often assessed with a rubric. Implications for teaching and learning. Teacher decisions. Results from assessment of learning are often used to make decisions about students, such as assigning grades, determining readiness for the next level of instruction, or identifying areas where students may need additional support. Comparison with assessment for learning and assessment as learning. Assessment for learning is formative, ongoing, and designed to inform instruction, helping students improve during the learning process. Assessment as learning focuses on students' role in their learning, promoting self-assessment, reflection, and self-regulation. Assessment of learning is, in contrast, is summative, focusing on the outcome and final achievements after the learning process has concluded. Importance of assessment of learning. While assessment of learning may not directly contribute to the ongoing learning process like AFL and AAL, it plays a crucial role in accountability, demonstrating that education standards are being met. Certification, providing evidence of students' achievement for grades, diplomas, or certificates. Reporting, offering a summary of learning for students, parents, educators, and other stakeholders. Categories of assessment. Assessment for learning. Assessment for learning. Purpose. Assessment for learning is fundamentally about enhancing learning. It helps teachers understand where each student is in their learning journey, where they need to do next, what they need to do next, and what is the best way to get them there. It is not just about giving students grades or scores, but about using the assessment process to support and improve learning. Strategies and techniques. Diagnostic assessment. Teachers may start with a diagnostic assessment to identify students' prior knowledge, misconceptions, and skills before beginning new instruction. Formative feedback. After a lesson or activity, students might receive feedback that is descriptive rather than judgmental, focusing on what they did well and where they need to improve. Differentiation. Teachers may use assessment for learning data to tailor instruction to meet diverse learning needs within the classroom, ensuring all students progress. Questioning. Teachers might use strategic questions to probe students' understanding, encourage critical thinking, and clarify misconception in real time. Role of teachers. Teachers are central in the assessment for learning process. They collect, analyze, and respond to data about students' progress. They guide students through the learning process, offering targeted feedback and adjusting instruction to address gaps in understanding. Impact on students. Students become more aware of their learning goals and how they can achieve them. They receive continuous feedback that help them make improvements before their learning is formally assessed. Over time, students may begin to take more responsibility for their learning as they see the benefits of this continuous feedback loop. Next, assessment as learning. Purpose. Assessment as learning shifts the focus from the teacher to the student, empowering students to take ownership of their learning. It's about students reflecting on their learning process, recognizing their own strength and weakness, and making adjustment accordingly. Assessment as learning fosters self-regulation, metacognition, and lifelong learning skills. Strategies and techniques. Self-assessment. Students might use rubrics or checklists to assess their own work, reflecting on whether they met the learning objectives. Goal setting. Students can set specific measurable learning goals based on their reflections, creating a roadmap for improvement. Peer assessment. Students might evaluate each other's work, providing constructive feedback that help both the reviewer and the recipient grow. Learning journals. Students could keep a journal where they record their thoughts on what they have learned, how they have learned, and what they still need to work on. The role of students. Students are active participants in the assessment process, constantly reflecting on and assessing their own learning. They use the feedback from peers and self-assessments to guide their learning strategies and actions. Over time, students develop the ability to self-monitor, self-direct, and self-adjust their learning approaches. Impact on students. Students gain a deeper understanding of themselves as learners. They develop critical thinking and problem solving skills by analyzing their own learning process, and it encourages students to become more independent and motivated learners with the skills to succeed beyond the classroom. Interconnection and benefits. While assessment for learning and assessment as learning have distinct role, they complement each other in the learning process. Assessment for learning provides a foundation for effective learning by offering ongoing feedback and guidance which can then be used in assessment as learning. Concept of evaluation. Evaluation is a critical component of the educational process and it encompasses a systematic approach to assessing the effectiveness, value, or quality of programs, process, or learning outcome. These definitions provided by Gay 1991 and Ebel and Frisbee 1991 highlight different aspects of evaluation. Evaluation is a systematic process of collecting and analyzing data in order to determine whether and to what degree objectives have been or are being achieved. Gay 1991. Definition. Evaluation is prescribed a systematic process involving the collection and analysis of data to determine the extent to which objectives have been achieved. Systematic data collection, data analysis, objective achievements are the key points. Next, the purpose of evaluation is to make a judgment about the quality or worth of something. Ebel and Frisbee 1991. Evaluation is also seen as a process of making judgment about the quality or worth of something, whether it's a program, curriculum, teaching method, or students' performance. Key points: judgment. Evaluation involves making informed decisions or judgments based on the data collected. This judgment can be qualitative or quantitative. Next, quality or worth. The evaluation process aims to assess not only whether objectives are met but also the overall value or impact of the educational process or outcome. Purpose. The ultimate purpose is to make decisions that can improve educational practices, allocate resources effectively, and enhance student learning. Types of evaluation. Formative evaluation. Ongoing assessment during the development or implementation of a program or course to improve it before a final examination. Summative evaluation. Conducted after the completion of a program or course to judge its overall effectiveness and outcomes. Diagnostic evaluation. Used to identify specific strength and weakness before instruction begins, often to tailor teaching approaches. Process evaluation focuses on how a program or activity is being implemented rather than its outcomes. Outcome evaluation examines the result of a program or educational process, determining the extent to which the objectives have been achieved. Elements of evaluation. The elements of evaluation are the core components that guide the process of assessing the effectiveness, quality, or value of an educational program, process, or outcome. Here, an explanation of each element. Systematic collection of evidence. This element involves the organized and methodical gathering of data or information that is relevant to the objectives of the evaluation. The evidence can come from various sources including test, survey, observation, interview, and existing records. Key aspects. Planned approach. The collection process is structured and deliberate, ensuring that the data gathered is comprehensive and reliable. Relevance. The evidence collected should directly relate to the objectives being evaluated, ensuring it is pertinent to the evaluation's goals. Variety of sources. Evidence should be collected from multiple sources to provide a well-rounded view of the subject being evaluated. Next, analysis and interpretation. Description. Once the evidence is collected, it must be systematically analyzed and interpreted to make sense of the data. This involves process of data identifying patterns or trends and drawing conclusions that are meaningful in the context of evaluation. Key aspects: data analysis, interpretation, contextual understanding. Judgment of value. This element involves making an informed judgment about the quality, worth, or effectiveness of the program, process, or outcome being evaluated. It is, it is a critical step where evaluators assess whether the objectives have been met and to what extent. Key aspects: criteria based. The judgment is often based on pre established criteria or standards that define what constitutes success or quality. Objective and subjective. While the judgment should be grounded in objective evidence, it may also involve subjective considerations such as the perceived impact or value of the program. Informed decision making. The judgment forms the basis for decisions about whether to continue, modify, or terminate a program or practice. Next, a view of action. The final element focuses on using the insight gained from the evaluation to inform future actions. This involves making recommendations or taking steps to improve the program, address identified issues, or implement new strategies. Key aspects: actionable recommendations. The evaluation should provide clear, actionable recommendations that can be implemented to improve the program or process. Continuous improvement. Evaluation is seen as part of an ongoing cycle of improvement where the findings lead to adjustment and refinements that enhance educational outcomes. Feedback loop. The view of action ensures that the evaluation results are not just field away but actively used to make positive changes. Measurement, assessment, and evaluation interrelationship. Measurement and assessment. Measurement provides the data needed for assessment. Without measurement, assessment would lack the quantitative aspect necessary for objective analysis. Assessment and evaluation. Assessment informs evaluation by providing the data that evaluators analyze to make judgment about effectiveness and improvement areas. Measurement and evaluation. While measurement focuses on data collection, evaluation uses that data to make decisions and assess, qualify, or effectiveness, bridging the gap between raw data and actionable insights. In summary, measurement provides the data, assessment interprets that data, and evaluation uses the interpreted data to make informed decisions. Measurement, assessment, and evaluation interrelationships. Measurement, quantitative description. The process of quantifying characteristics or attributes often through numerical data. Example: test score, grade, attendance rate, and standardized test result provide the foundational data needed for further analysis and understanding. Assessment, qualitative description. A broader process that includes not only the collection of numerical data but also qualitative insight about person's abilities, skills, or knowledge. Example: portfolio, performance evaluations, and open-ended survey responses. Evaluation, value judgment. The process of making judgment about the value or quality of the information obtained through measurement and assessment. Example: deciding whether a program is effective based on assessment result or determining the pass or failed status of students. So the interplay between these three processes enhances educational practices and outcome. Measurement provides the necessary data, assessment contextualizes that data, and evaluation leads to informed decisions that can improve learning experiences. So measurement, assessment, and evaluation are interconnected processes that work together to enhance understanding and decision making in educational and psychological context. Each plays a critical role in the overall framework, contributing to a holistic approach to understanding performance and effectiveness and leads to value judgment. Evaluation, measurement or quantitative description plus value judgment. This perspective emphasizes the importance of numerical data and metrics in measuring performance or outcome, supplemented by a subjective judgment regarding the quality or significance of those measurements. Evaluation is equal to assessment or qualitative description plus value judgment. This view highlights the role of qualitative assessment, which involves descriptive analysis and interpretation, often drawing on personal insights or experiences, combined with a value judgment that reflects the evaluator's perspectives. Evaluation is equal to measurement plus assessment plus value judgment. This comprehensive definition integrates both quantitative and qualitative elements, recognizing that effective evaluation often requires a holistic approach that includes numerical data, detailed assessment, and subjective judgments. Together, these definitions illustrate that evaluation is not just about numbers or descriptions, it involves interpreting those findings within context and making informed judgments based on both objective and subjective criteria.